Welcome to This Week in Hospitality Marketing, the podcast show number 263, with your host, Lauren Gray.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hospitality Marketing, the podcast. I am your host, Lauren Gray, and this is episode number 263. So each week we spend around 20 to 30 minutes sharing the most interesting tools, news, and techniques being used in marketing for the hospitality industry. We also do a quick recap of our weekly live video show, This Week in Hospitality Marketing, which also airs every Friday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. So with that, let's get started.
And now, today's new resource tool.
So we always start with our tool, and we have two of them today, so we have tools. And it continues with the theme that will be tied to our technique for this week, obviously, duh. And that is video interactivity. If you're not noticing it now, you may be noticing it, or you may already been engaging with this, but there are a host of tools coming to market or in market that are helping you better do video engagement. Now, we're all familiar with YouTube, the ability to go in and see the pre-roll, the mid-roll, or click on the subscribe button, or for more information, click here. And then, of course, at the very end, it gives you options of either continuance of videos similar to other videos you might be interested in. So there's always been this kind of level of engagement to that. And for that, also, we've had it where you can do things sometimes in the videos. Well, those tools were always either very expensive or very hard to use, because you had to be very good at when, where, and how, and layers of videography you're putting on top of another layer, and they're making a hotspot for it, and all these other fun things. Well, the two tools that I would like to, and I can refer to a third for a different reason, the two tools I'd like to talk about today is one that I just recently acquired that does both still shots and videos, and it creates hotspots in them. And they're more related to retail, but I have an interesting twist for it for hospitality we'll talk about technique-wise. And that is spot.ai, spott.ai. This tool allows you to put indicators in the image or videos. Its original concept of what it talks about mostly is like from a retail perspective. So you take a picture of somebody wearing clothes that you're selling, and you can touch the button that is indicated that if you click that, this is the jacket, and here's a link to go buy that jacket if you want to, or shoes, or slacks, or whatever have you. Well, obviously, from another retail point of view, you can look at furniture and click on the furniture, and if you like that furniture, we'll go to the site specific or page specific about that piece of furniture. So it does that functionality from a retail perspective. Now, obviously, from a hospitality perspective, we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. But my other tool I'd like to bring into the conversation is one that I have been using recently for storyboarding, and that is called interactor.io. Interactr.io. interactr.io. Now, what I've been building for this one is kind of a progression of discovery. Do you like red or do you like blue? I like blue. Do I like blue? Do you like light blue or dark blue? I like light blue. I'm being very simplistic, but you see that what happens is you have a video, and there you have images on the video, and you put tiles on those videos, or you put overlays on aspects of the video that says click here for that information, click here for this information. You can do it either as an inquiry, or you can do it as a way of discovering. Am I traveling for family or soft adventure or culinary or off the beaten path? Well, when I click on that button, it goes to the next video that's tailored specifically to that content that button was pointing to. So it makes it a very interactive video. So those are my two tools. Now, the third I'll bring reference to. Now, interactive we've mentioned before on a previous podcast for different reasons, similar to what we're talking about today. But the third one I also want to bring in is called Video Remix. Now, this tool is about customization of a video, where it will know your geography, it'll know your name. And so if somebody clicks on the video, it'll say, "Hi, Lauren, where do you get such and such and such and such?" Now, if you're a subscriber to our live show email roster, in that email that you get each week is what's called a personalized video. You click on that, and it'll literally do that. It'll also find your geographic location and place that where you placed it in the video, so that people, for me, it'd be Cape Coral, where it's like, "Hi, Lauren, where do you get your hospitality news from when you're in Cape Coral?" So I literally placed two hotspots that would take dynamic content, personalized content, put my name in it, first or last, whatever, as well as also my geographic location. There are other dynamic fields that can be placed in there depending upon the data that you're getting. Say, for instance, confirmation numbers or what have you, that you can actually place in there if that information is available to who's receiving that email. But that's more email video driven, which is a little bit of a hybrid to what we want to talk about a little bit today. Not that it's out of place, just that's an extra step in conversation is to placing that into personalized emails, personalized social media engagement content. We're a little bit more leaning towards just video engagement at this point and what you can do with video engagement. So we're featuring Spot.ai and Interactor.io. So those are our two tools. Now let's get to our technique.
Now, for this week's hospitality technique.
So our technique this week is my statement, video is more than just watching. It can guide your guests to interactivity. So with these two tools we're just talking about, Spot AI and Interactor.io, it allows us now to put things in video that people can interact with, they can engage with, something simplistic. I'm playing with the Spot.ai right now to take a picture, a static picture, although it could be video, of the retail portion of a hotel. The little tchotchkes and logo stuff and did you forgets and all this other stuff. And I'm going to actually put, because they do have an online store for a lot of these branded products, I'm going to put hotspots on these products that will go to the page in which you can buy that product should you want it. We always know that people, when they've enjoyed a stay with you as a resort or a destination event or what have you, you have these kind of branded tchotchkes to this, that there's always a great success in sending an email on the post day that says, hey, in case you forgot a memorabilia or you want a token of memory or whatever, don't forget to visit our retail store if you'd like to get a shirt or a towel or a flip-flop or whatever that has our logo on it so that you can remind yourself of how much fun you had with us. That's been around for way long. What this now allows us to do is, outside of that post-engagement experience, this could be a pre-arrival experience. This could be a gift for people in experience, for experience. I think matter of fact, I know I have on previous podcasts and on the live shows, I've talked about creating a online marketplace that people can go in and buy things from. So, for instance, if you had family members going to a hotel and you wanted to buy them chocolates and champagne to be in their room, you had a place to go that could be bought. And then the details of what you wanted to have happen, please put it into Mr. and Mrs. Smith's room when they check in, prior to check-in on this date, blah, blah, blah. And you pay for it. So you could do this kind of online retail portion of it. Well, that's pretty much a picture with a button under it. I'm talking about putting the button on the images. Nice part of it is with videos, you can actually have somebody describe it, motioning, say, look at this. This is a fine quality of this. This is this. This is what the food looks like if we were to, if you were to buy this and put it in there for dinner for them or whatever is for food service. Whatever it is, now there's a much higher interactivity that can happen by putting these hotspots on the videos and allowing the pre-guest, non-guest, anybody to actually buy stuff. Maybe there's some crazy cool stuff that is at a resort that I never have made it to yet, but I look at it and say, oh my gosh, I want to walk around with a t-shirt that has Spam Fest 2020 on it from Hawaii. Well, I can't make it Hawaii this year, but I'd love to have the late t-shirt with it, and it was sponsored by the hotel that I'm buying it from. Who knows? But that's the cool part of all this, is that you get to do some really funky stuff like this. Now, Interactor.io, I mentioned earlier, I was using this before. This is a video guided engagement that I'm trying to use with this. And hear me out on this one, because it gets a little weird. So from a pre-stay arrival, I want to, in the pre-stay email, give them a link to discovering the destination around the hotel. And have it sensitive to events that I'll given the same with what we're dealing with in COVID, that are still running, whether there's restrictions about needing to buy early tickets or whatever, all that's in here. You make these videos, but not everybody wants to know about these things. So if you're going to send all these links to all this stuff, you're really just hoping, you're throwing stuff against the wall and hoping something sticks. Here, it's like discover the destination, they go into it, and literally they're given 4 tiles at the very beginning. Are you here for business? Or for leisure. No, actually, first one's 2 tiles, excuse me. And then they choose. Okay, great. If it's leisure, are you here with family? Are you here for romantic adventure, soft adventure, off the beaten path, culinary, whatever? And they click one of the tiles. They might be here for multiple reasons, but they can always go backwards and go back and see it again. And they go pick one of those ones. Now, the next video that they go to will be about that topic. Things that they should know about. And of course, there's a button in there for events for the month you're there. And so we're putting in the event links and videos of pieces of it, so people may not even be aware of the events that are going on. And they can see them and go, oh, wow, and I happen to be there for the dates that's running. That's cool, It's an interactive video process for them that they can discover more than just saying, oh, what do I want to do when I'm there? I don't know what to do when I'm in XYZ city. And here you're actually helping them, making them aware of the really cool restaurants that may be open and what the rules are and their guidance right around your hotel, or locations that they might want to go see. As we've talked about in previous podcasts, we're in a progression of discovery. Our first video discovery is protocols and changes in policy, so people understand what your hotel is doing to make them and your team safe. So they understand walking in that there will be plexiglass, or you have to wait a distance away before getting into the place that you check in at, or what things get cleaned up and what things don't get cleaned up. That's first video. Second video is then what is it they need to know around what's happening, like what restaurants are open, what are their meal periods, what's the rules and restrictions about them dining in or not dining in, what do they need to know about deliveries or pickups. The third is, if there is things that are available to do in the market, what are the rules, guidance, and restrictions on those? And then the fourth thing is giving them reasons as to, hey, we'd love to have you visit because of these things are available and can be done safely. So those are 4 progressions of conversation. These videos can play a part in each of those roles. They will allow you to expose, define, and augment visually, audibly, what it is that you're doing on all those categorizations of conversation. So again, I say, as our technique of the week, video is more than just watching. It can guide your guests interactively. And that is our technique of the week.
Now, this week's hospitality news that you should know.
So news and show review. We had a fun, open conversation. We did not have a featured guest host, although it was always a pleasure to have our hosts that were with us. With us was Mr. Edward St. Onge Fliptu, Mr. Dean Schmidt from Basecamp Metasearch and Metasearch Marketing, Tristan Hayward and Ben Handley with 3 and 6 Media from across the pond in Northern England. Also with us was Miss Tammy Carlisle from Milestone, Stuart Butler with Fuel Travel, Lily Mockerman with Thinks Up Enterprises and TCRM Services, and Adele Goodman with Aspire Reputation Management. And really fun conversations to this. We hit some great topics. Thanks both to the co-hosts that brought them to our discussion, as well as the ever well-curated list from Mr. Robert Cole of Rock Cheetah, which if you would like to sign up for his really excellent list that he puts out free each week, you can go to bit.ly/Rock Cheetah, all lowercase, no space. And there you can sign up and get the same listings of great topics that we refer to in our conversations and use in our dialogue, and add to what it is that we're doing. So some of the things we did hit on it is in the news is how Google is handling some very large third-party organizations' debt by turning off of their ability to do advertisement. Trivago is probably point first in coming to mind. There was a lot of back and forth as to, is this a power play or is this just a big company not keeping up, and why would they be asking for assistance and financial considerations? Are they that destitute, or they were just looking for a free money ride? So we had some fun back and forth about it. We also talked about Omni exploring the sale of 5 of its hotels as part of a reinvestment strategy. We've talked many times about brand and brand type and locations as to how they're going to deal with the shift in marketing dynamics, about the lack of corporate travel at this point, conference capabilities, and what have you. How are some companies dealing with that? And that was a conversation how Omni was repositioning themselves for that. Then we got into heavy discussions of the loss of corporate travel and how COVID has permanently changed travel because of that. Also, too, we talked about the Accor and IHG potential merger consideration, thing that all of us were in consensus that that would be a very interesting combination, because both of them don't have what the other has, so putting them together makes an even larger opportunity for both of them. So it was an interesting conversation for it. And the one topic that we didn't talk about, but I wanted to make sure we talked about it on the podcast today, was Amazon, and this is thanks to Robert putting it into his list. Amazon wants to make you an ML practitioner for free. What do we mean by ML practitioner? We mean machine learning expert. And I thought this was very interesting because it's an interesting halfway point of combination. The more people know how to do this stuff, the more it'll get made and used. Much like very similar to when you look back when Apple first rolled out its first iPhone. it got a lot of flack because you're comparing against the Motorola Razr, which fit better, flipped open, was cooler, was smaller. It seemed to be everything we wanted. And here, all of a sudden, we get this flat piece of glass, basically. That's how it was contrived. It doesn't fit against your face. You're putting a window pane against your face. There was so much negativity to it until the App Store opened. And the ability to have a diverse amount of applications working. Now, Apple could have said, we'll make all our own apps. But we know that with any project, when you launch it into the public and the public has the opportunity to develop and cultivate from it, you get ideas and creativity that you would never get within a controlled space such as your own corporation. It doesn't happen. So the more public engagement, the more capable larger audiences stepping in and thinking in ways that you didn't even think of how to use it, makes the diversity geometric. It grows exponentially as to all the variations that go on. So Amazon's brilliant in this idea of saying, look, in a good structured format, we'll teach you machine learning. And in such, you'll be able to come up with ways of using this stuff that we haven't even thought of yet. So the idea of it blowing up is very large. Now, I say this directly in reference to a little bit of what we do already for the podcast. We are on multiple platforms, but a large portion of our listenership, which is a little over 5,000 now at this point, is through Amazon, Siri, and Google Assistant. Because I created what was called skills on Amazon in Google and Siri that allowed for this to go over and be mentioned. I almost turned my own Siri on when I said that. That you simply have to go up to your whatever one you use, whether it be Google, Siri, or Amazon Alexa, and just say, hey, play the Hospitality Marketing Podcast. And it will play the latest version, this version being the one if you do it if you're listening to the show now. So it allows for just a simple engagement like that. Now, we also played with it for one hotel for a while where we created a skill set for them when they came to the hotel that we didn't put hardware in the rooms, but rather if they had it on their phones, they could use any, Amazon in particular, Alexa, that they could go over and turn on the skill set for that hotel. And from it, they could say, I'm hungry. And it would answer what kind of food you like. And we gave them categories of food that were in the area that they could go to because there was no restaurant facility in the hotel itself. And, I want to do things. And then because of what we put into it, well, what kind of things do you like to do? Similar to what I was describing with the videos a little earlier, where we're giving this logic string of things that they can go through a process of. And then we give a result, say, well, this Korean restaurant right around the corner is exceptional. It's 5 stars, blah, blah, blah. Would you like me to call it? And next thing you know, it's making your phone call the place and make reservations. Now, it was a novelty back then, and not a lot of people either traveled with or used their phones in that capacity. So it never drew that big, large audience. But now imagine with the fact that more and more people build more skill sets, build more machine learning capabilities, learn how to do these things, they'll themselves become more avid users in addition to that. Plus, as more of these things get built, and they're more valuable, more interactive, and people find purpose to them, it'll become more of a natural process for them as well. And I'm not saying that all Amazon skill sets is just the machine learning. Their machine learning is on several different levels that they're doing with natural speech only being one of them, computer vision, tabular data. Those are the first 3 that they've rolled out. They're rolling more after that. So the idea of that it's really a progression of several different things is very impressive, very smart on their point to be doing something like that, to get people more engaged with the opportunities of what that platform could offer them. So that was our news and show review, and that was our feature article, Amazon Wants to Make You an ML Practitioner. Now, of course, the link to that article, the links to all the other articles, the links to the tools we were talking about, everything else, of course, is on our show notes for the podcast. And remember, you can find us on Google Play, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn. The list goes on. 38 platforms and counting, to be exact. And as I mentioned before, we're on Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri. Just ask to play the Hospitality Marketing Podcast. And no matter which one you may use, if you like the show, please rate us and give us a comment. That will help others find our content and also give us great feedback as to what you might be interested in hearing more about and whether we're doing a good job of it as well. Also, of course, if this is your first time hearing us, you can subscribe to our show on any of those 38 platforms. And for an archive of all previous podcasts and the show notes that we talked about, you can go to hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com/podcasts. Look for show number 263, which this one is, so to get those particular show notes, plus all 262 other episodes are there too. And don't forget our live video talk show that you can join and participate in every Friday at 11:30 Eastern U.S. time, called This Week in Hospitality Marketing, the live show. Simply go to hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com/live. Again, thank you for the privilege of your time, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
You have been listening to This Week in Hospitality Marketing, the podcast show 263, brought to you by Hospitality Digital Marketing in support of the HSMAI, the Hospitality Sales and Marketing Association International. All rights reserved. Copyright 2020.